the program agenda is welcoming you all to the Zoom meeting. As you are aware, we are on Zoom platform, so there is a ground rule. Sometimes your connectivity will be lost, or you may be having some poor connectivity. So you can log out and log in if the connectivity is lost. And during the whole presentation, you are urged to keep your video off. And once one person is speaking, try to refrain speaking. So this is a detailed agenda of this. Those who has joined this session for the first time, for them, there is information that usually we meet third of Wednesday of every month. In that, there are two presentation. One presentation is always a case study by experienced personnel, like this time. This is a friendly introduction. There is a change in the agenda. This is case study on process safety, lesson learned from refinery isobutane release and fire incident by Mr. Muruganandam Bosapathy. He is certified process safety auditor from Kuwait Oil Company, and it will be followed by question and answer session. And those members who are first time coming to this session, they will be doing a self introduction to this forum, and we will proceed with the second presentation, that is by experience sharing, a step towards safety excellence by Mr. Anurag Tripathi, who is part of international faculty specialist. And later on, we will be having expectation from PSM plus and delta. In between, our moderator, if he is free and connectivity is okay, by our Ujjwal Ritvik sir, process safety expert and event moderator. He usually be a part, and he right now he is with us, so I hope he will be moderating this whole event. Right, sir?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you,
sir. Our pleasure to hear you after a long time.
Yeah, so, last couple of meetings I was either traveling or busy with
it
some
was
everyone
was on holidaying, so our president is back in India for her personal holidaying, and he will be back soon, inshallah.
Good.
And my colleague Mr. Badr Hadrami will be joining us at the end of it. So I will leave floor to now Ujjwal Ritvik sir.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm so happy to know that last moment we could still do some arrangement. That's called agility. And now ASSP Kuwait chapter is so much agile, so much well versed with these, organizing these events. Almost at the last moment, you have been able to, arrange the alternate speaker. I believe the other speaker who was to speak today, he fell ill and he expressed his inability. So now we have Mr. Muruganandam, and I am quite sure it's going to be as much interesting and informative. Ground rules have already been explained by Safdar. Now this is almost, we are entering the second year. We started this process in 2020, and now we are in 2022. And still people have interest. These meetings are going on. Hats off to all of you who continue attending this and continue benefiting from this initiative. Apart from this, PSM Group is doing other things as well. I think in due time, those things will be announced. Now, I would request the first speaker Muruganandam to speak. After that, we will have some room for question answers, and then we will be having some introduction by those who are joining for the first time. Then we will be having the expert presentation. Even Muruganandam is quite expert, but since he has stepped in, thank you very much, Muruganandam. And Mr. Anurag Tripathi will be talking in the second part of the presentation. Then again, we may have some time for question answers. So this is how it goes. I request all of you to keep attending, to keep asking questions, not just passive attendees, but asking questions. And if your queries are not answered, you can always post them on PSM WhatsApp group. Even you can email them. And the very interesting part is that it is a journey together. It is not that every answer is there. We have answer to every question, or every expert has all the answers, but it is an exploration by all of us together. So keep asking question. The most stupid question is that which has not been asked. So that means any question is a smart question. Keep asking. So Muruganandam, go ahead. Thank you very much in advance. Muruganandam, are you there?
Just a minute, sir. He will be there. He's facing some issues with his laptop, but I have opened this one presentation, and he will be presenting through mobile. Muruganji, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening to all. Thanks for opportunities today for my presentation. This will be very useful for everyone, for safety professional and the contractor and company employees, how the PSM will help to avoid any disaster and personal injuries and fatalities. Before start the presentation, I like to show the videos quickly. Ramana, can you start the video?
Yes, it is.
Actually, maximum all the industries, our employer and all the stakeholders, what they have to look the minimum OSA PSM elements, that if you comply, we can avoid any loss of lives and any disasters and any losses. Actually, mainly my presentation is today. Yes, just to look how this incident happened. This is a self-explanatory. It shows occupational and process safety incident.
A new tank was being filled with water for hydrostatic testing. Two mechanics were working at the stairs near the roof, finishing the handrails, using angle grinders to polish the structure. Hydrostatic testing is a process in which components of a system are tested for resistance and leakage by filling equipment with a pressurized liquid. It serves to identify material failures or tank misassembly. The responsible operator starts the field activities. Firstly, he opens the switch and activates the pump start button. Immediately after, he opens the discharge valve, allowing water to enter the tank. But a few hours later, something unexpected happens. an explosion occurs, injuring two mechanics working on the tank, throwing them against the handrails. What happened? The tank had been filled with water through a pipeline, the same pipeline that contained a few liters of gasoline left over from the previous service. So the gasoline was flushed into the tank and floated over the water. And the high ambient temperature caused the gasoline to evaporate. The mechanics performing the hot work eventually ignited the gasoline vapor. What have we learned? Apart from the fact that the piping has not been purged and mechanically cleaned prior to testing, which already is a serious cause of this event, no one should be allowed to work on the tank during a hydrostatic test. One of the reasons for filling the tank with water is to ensure that
look here, this video demonstrate, even hydro test, it is not involved with the hydrocarbon. It got exploded due to the water hose contained in the other previous hydrocarbons. That's why. Another one, this video is better for your reminder for PSM in construction site. And another quick video, Ramana, that also video will help you to make everyone. Thank you, Ramana, for screening these two videos. These two videos will help to remind the new professional what is the PSM. The PSM is the responsibility of everyone. Okay. Now I'm going to the my slides, my findings today. How the human factors lead for disasters. Because quickly I want to tell you this. Next page, Ramana. Next page. Yeah, today to understand major incident due to the design error and human factors and safe operation responsibility of process plant individual, alert to the management commitment on PSM implementation, lack of training during operation and maintenance at highly hazardous process facilities, need for implementation of PSM element in the process handling, highly hazardous chemical industries. Next, because these are all today from my presentation you can understand. The videos already I shown to you. This will help you to remind you what is the PSM and how it is important. Next slide. Ramana, next slide. Okay, this is a quick introduction about one of the process incident in 2016. 2016, the ExxonMobil refinery, when they are doing the normal operation, they found the valve got stuck it has contained isobutane. Okay, that time what happened? The company allowed to remove the handle. What I am showing the picture here, they allowed to remove the handle. While remove the handle, they removed the hand wheel along with the gearbox and the debolting arrangement. The debolt arrangement caused the human error and the design error. They removed the gear wheel, which caused to next slide. Next slide, Ramana. Okay, when the operator to attempt that log the plug wall by pipe wrench, that time what happened? The isobutane was released from the top of the flange of the valve, because it is due to design error. While remove the wheel of the plug valve, the top of the valve assembly also taken out. Means the bolt was taken out. It was free from any nut and bolt. That's why when they started to lock the plug valve, it was huge amount of isobutane was released. Then due to that, the nearby welding machine was one of the ignition source. When the operator then attempted to open the valve, the isobutane was contacted with the nearby hot surface, that was this welding machine. This may be one of the main reason. Next, as a ignition source. Next, Ramana. You can see here the red circle, what I am showing there. This is the point where the isobutane was released. This is the scenario. There is a two operator was involving to attend this plug valve blockage. That time there is the isobutane was released from the plug valve assembly. Next. Ramana, next, Ramana. Here you can see the ignition source was nearby our welding machine. The location was nearby to the gas release point. It was happened below one minute. Within about 32 seconds, this fire and explosion was occurred due to this ignition source. Next. Next one. Yeah, next again. You can see here the previous one, Ramana. Ramana, previous one. You can see here the 2 seconds, the gas release was happened. After 21 seconds, the ignition started. 30 seconds, 33 seconds, 39, up to 51 seconds, it was the full explosion, fire and explosion. It caused for severe burn injuries for the 4 workers. Okay, next. Ramana, next, Ramana. Here, mainly, why the purpose of today's session is how the design error and the human factor jointly affected and lead for this disaster. Because you can see the olden days, at the 2016, the plug valve have the assembly with the gearbox. It can be operated easily, but it got stuck. You can see the blue mark, arrow mark, the assembly was, the blue mark is the right gearbox, good design. The knot pressure returning to the bolt. Okay, the next one, you can see the circle one. You can see the gearbox assembly was not connected to any other outside flanges. It was connected above the plug valve assembly. Means it was pressure retaining on the bolt itself. The operator, what they did a mistake, they removed all the bolt to close the valve plug by pipe wrench. By the time what happened, the bolt was removed, the plug valve top portion was free from the any strengthening material that caused release of isobutane. Next. Ramana, next one. You can see this was the corrected design one. This was the corrected design one, because you can see the plug. You can see the 4 nut bolt was already retained along with the plug valve. It will help to avoid any hydrocarbon release from the valve portion, valve body. This is a revised design. That's why the design is important. This has to be captured during our process hazard analysis, during ASSP. That time you have to say one of the intent was human factors. If the anything failure, how it can cause what can goes wrong, how would have been avoided by human factors. That has to be considered. Next. Ramana, next. I'll go to the next. These are the sequence of the valve operation. Already I explained. Go to the next slide. Yeah, this is the causal factor we made by the Chemical Safety Board. You can see here all they found that there is a human failure. Means there was human failure means the design error was not communicated, not was involved by human error. Design error was not identified by through process hazard analysis. Then after that, the equipment, the human factor, being operated by our workers, if they did any mistake, how can prevent any hydrocarbon release was not identified. That's why this was a big disaster. Like a training and a written procedure, it was not available. How to manage, how to handle the plug valve operation in case of any failure. It was not informed to the workers. That lead was this incident. Next. Okay. Why do things wrong? Maybe procedures, culture, design of equipment, supervision, work practice. All these things can combine to create a potential for an accident. We have to be very strict on this one for compliance. We have to follow proper procedure. We have to follow the good safety culture, PSM culture, and the design, equipment, and the supervision and work practice. If they was not followed, this will create the potential accidents. Next. Ramana, go quick. Yeah. Because to cover this one, already OSA, PSM, and the API, they have some questions for human factors. They're already addressing what we have to look for the human factors to consider in the PSM manual. OSA PSM, it is already explained in the 1910-119 on covered process, identifies, evaluate, and control the hazard involved in the process. Next, by PHA. Next. And you can see the API clearly says, is there any equipment that often does not work as designed? Because we have the plug valve, but it was not worked. It got stuck. The stem was not operable. That's why the people are attended to close the valve by pipe wrench. The next, how could human error cause an incident or unsafe conditions? Or routine duties well defined? Or the job or routine duty well defined means what? We have maintenance mechanics available, operator is available, that each has have designated responsibilities and the trainings. Okay. And our routine duties well defined. Each person, what they have to do, that will be defined in advance. Or the job aid adequately given to them. To operate anything, we have to give adequately. Ramana, can you see there is a black screen on my the slide? I couldn't read my slide. Yeah, thank you. Ramana, remove me as a host because I am getting invitation to admit the people. Next slide. Are their job adequate, including training? This is one of the human factors. We have to give proper training, how to repair the valve, how to handle the valve in case of shutdown or any emergencies. This image shows isobutane release and fire incident causal analysis. Next. Ramana, go to the next. Here, some deficiency we identified by Chemical Safety Board. What they identified, failure to identify, address the older model of the plug valve, the gearbox reliability also. Lack of human factors evaluation to identify older plug valves are how to repair and how to manage the in case of stuck. No written procedure detailing the steps needed to remove the different mode of the gearbox from plug valves and manually open or close the valve safely. No training workers safely to remove the various plug valves gearbox. One of the accessories from the gearbox, the plug valve is gearbox. We should know how to remove to safely in case of any difficulties or it was not malfunctioning. And any organizational culture that accepted operators removing the malfunction. What is one of the main culture was in the company was, the company was allowed to remove the plug valve, the gear wheel from the plug valve. This is one of the unacceptable practice. They are allowed to remove that cause for this major release of isobutane. Next. Ramana, next. Yeah. This is already explained. This is the detailed causal factors identified by the Chemical Safety Board. I want to tell finally the key lesson learned. Evaluate human factors associated with the operational for different equipment, existing newer machinery and other equipment, especially the equipment is part of the process covered by the PSM standard. Apply the hierarchy of control to mitigate the identified hazards. during the various ASSP studies, when developing the control measure, we have to follow the hierarchy of control. Last only the defense is the PP. Before that, we have engineering control. Then you can go for our administrative control. Okay, because we cannot avoid the elimination, and because such a valves and all important. But while developing the control measure, we have to ensure the hierarchy of controls being followed or not, because this will help to avoid the human intervention. That we have to look during ASSP study. You see the disaster happen due to this isobutanol release due to the human intervention only. If you avoid by human intervention by engineering method, we can avoid this kind of disasters. Establish detailed and accurate procedure for workers performing potentially hazardous work, including job tasks such as removing an inoperable gearbox. Suppose any equipment, if it is not operable, then we have to have the safe operating procedure, how to do safe maintenance and how to manage that kind of situations. The next. Next. Provide training to ensure workers can perform all anticipated the task, because we have to give different type of task for different scenario. That will be helpful for to avoid any major incident in the chemical industries. And monitor and control the ignition source in the whole process industries. If there was no ignition source, means we would have been avoided any personal injuries or fatalities and huge fire and explosion incidents. And the contractor selection also important. And the PHA, as per the PSM, at least every 5 years we have to conduct PSA. Even it was this this introduction happened in 2016. If after before they done a PHA, that might be identified what is the human intervention or any issue with the plug valve based on the reliability data. And the PSM audit, this will help to ensure all the PSM elements are being covered in the process industry. Okay, thank you. I think I covered very quickly how it is important in the process industry, the training and other contractor selection, other and design, how to design the equipment and all important. You have to look during the PHAs. Thank you.
Thank you, Muruganandam. It was a very to the point presentation and very relevant, I should say. The identified lessons learned, they are very important, and they need to be, as we say, we never learn a lesson unless some corrective action is implemented. Otherwise, it is just a story. When we listen to a story, we forget it. But lessons learned means what? We listen to something and we implement. We do some action to implement those identified improvements. Now it's time for question answers. So if any of you want to ask any question to Muruganandam or for anyone, or even if you have some comments, this is your time. Go ahead, please. Please.
Later, anyone can ask later also, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, no, right now we are taking a few questions, then we will move on.
Sure.
Yeah, anyone who has just, you can unmute your mic and ask any question. Or even if you have some comment, some of you may have. Yeah, Ravi Shankar, you want to speak something?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Actually, this was discussed in elaborate, but I think few points we can consider in this. One point is that basically they have taken the shortcuts. They have not followed the procedure, and being it is a live line, they have to do, if suppose they want to do some work, so they have to do the risk assessment. So that itself they have not done. are disturbed. And another thing, operators are trained to operate the valves, not to do any maintenance work. So this is there is a management failure to look upon these issues. So that's I want to convey.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good observation, Ravi Shankar. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, sir.
Bibin, Joel? Yeah,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
Yes. Actually, my observation is actually I don't know whether this supervisor he informed this workers whether the line is live or not. Maybe if he informed this one means they will not open. Yes, I written means make a big. They give training. I think maybe lack of training or something. The main point is supervisor have to whether the line is live or not.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Bibin. Anyone else who wants to comment? MB Franca? MB Franca, you want to speak something? Your mic is on mute. Okay, at this point, we would like to have an introduction from those who are joining these meetings for the first time. As you know, now we are in the third year. We started this in 2020. We ran all throughout 2021 unbroken, and now we are in the first meeting of 2022. So this is third year that we are running this. A lot of you are regulars. You are joining every time. But those of you who have joined this for the first time, I think we would like you to introduce yourselves so that the rest of the group should know that who you are. Go ahead. Munib, have you joined these meetings earlier also? Munib Sirkot?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yes, yes, sir.
Myself, Praveen Kumar Chaudhary. I'm working in Grasim Industries Limited. And I'm joining here second time. Last meeting also I have joined.
Good.
So it's really a great opportunity to listen all the talks, and it's a good learning platform. Thank you for giving the opportunity for me to join here. Thank you very much.
Good, Praveen, that you are able to join, and we expect that you also speak. Okay, what you are doing there in Grasim Industries?
I'm working in as a safety manager, assistant safety manager in Grasim, Vilayat, Bharuch.
Okay.
Location is Bharuch. So our industry is fiber manufacturing industry.
Okay.
Just joined here 4 months back. I have overall 8 years of experience, including overseas experience in Abu Dhabi, UAE. I worked in Tata Projects as a lead safety engineer for 4 years. Then I returned back and I did my ADIS from RLI Kolkata in 2019-20. And I've just joined here 4 months back.
That's good. Wish you good luck, good career.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
But we would like you to speak next time.
Definitely,
okay, you
sir.
don't have to be an expert. You choose your topic. It could be the best would be an example of some failure or something that happened to your shift or under your watch in your this one, and it may not be something very big. don't expect that every near miss has to be an explosion and fatalities. Any near miss, anything that you want to speak, that it is your forum, and next time we would request you to devote. You don't have to make PowerPoints, you don't have to make a video movie, you just speak extempore, I mean from your notes, or you can show some PDF.
Sure, sir.
But if you want to make
Understood.
a PowerPoint, it is good, you can do that, but it is not a mandatory requirement. So next month in February, second Wednesday, we would like you to speak, so that people would also know your experiences and they would learn from it. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I will try my best to prepare one incident, and I will.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't have to be. I am telling this to everyone. It doesn't have to be some big incident. If you are choosing a big incident, it's okay. But the best thing is that something that happened to you, something that happened to someone, something very close to you, and you can talk about it. It could be simply a near miss. That means something was big was about to happen, and some people, they could, by luck or by some action, they could save the situation. Well, that is what is the best that I would like all of you to present one by one.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to introduce himself or herself?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Mukherjee CC. I reside in Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Okay.
Okay, this is my first time of joining this great platform, and a very educative presentations and sessions. I have been working first in the oil and gas industry for quite some time now. I started off as an aviation depot manager for Total, and then I moved to HSCQ, Health, Safety, Environment, Equality. I have been working there for quite some time till date. And in oil and gas, safety cannot be compromised. Unlike other industries, maybe the same as chemical industries. So I have gained a lot of experience in seeing incidents and analyzing incidents. So I find myself very, very happy to find myself in such a platform. And I will continue to be part and parcel from time to time. I must say I enjoyed the session, and it's very educative.
Thank you, Morlai. You are from Sierra Leone, Freetown, is it?
Yes.
Good. Welcome to this forum, and I'm so happy that you have been able to join. So what exactly you do at your job?
Okay, I'm the Health, Safety, Environment, and Quality Manager, and I'm responsible for the safety across the entire affiliate. Now, quite recently, we have Total have sold to another company called Connex Oil and Gas. And so my job is specifically to ensure that we work safe, equipment are purchased with the right specification. Employees, new intake are well trained to meet the requirement of working at the oil and gas industry. As you know, in oil and gas, we sell danger. Danger itself is what we sell. That's our merchandise. And so all employees coming in, they have to go through a very, very robust induction so that they align themselves with what is required to stay safe. So I've been doing assessments. I'm also in charge of industrial hygiene, which also demands a lot of occupational health and safety, and to do task analysis and see the critical task and to mitigate by training or otherwise. But we have a complete data of all the tasks that is carried out
Very
by
good.
our personnel. Yes, and those are very analyzed thoroughly. The ones that are not critical, okay, but the critical ones we find means by mitigating, eliminating, or ensure that we can change the procedure if need be. So that has been my work. I keep the awareness very active of all our employees, endeavor to ensure that they inculcate the culture of safety, not only at workplaces, but at home. And for the ones that are driving, they should ensure that speed kills, and they should endeavor to drive safely. We have requirements. We have onboard computers, cameras for our trucks.
Very good. Morlai, sorry to interrupt you. Do you do incident investigations?
Yes, we do.
Very good. Will you be able to present one of your incidents next month?
Yes, I can.
That will be very good for all of us to know how exactly in your part of the world or in your company, investigations are being done, and especially if something, since you are talking of oil and gas, something related to hazardous business. If you can talk about it, that will be wonderful. Morlai, are you there in the WhatsApp group?
I don't think so, not yet.
Yeah. So what I would suggest that maybe Ramana, if you can include both Praveen and Morlai for in the WhatsApp group, and let them present in the next month. Their small presentations about the incidents that they have encountered.
Yes,
Ramana, you are there with us?
yes, I'm here.
Okay. So Morlai Sise from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and Praveen Kumar from Grasim Industry. Yeah, Praveen.
Yes, sir. Yes, Grasim Industries.
Yeah. So both of you can speak next month. Is there someone? Thank you, both of you. And is there someone else who want to introduce this time? This is the first time that he or she is attending.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Myself, Ankit Chawda.
Okay, Ankit. Yeah. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I am also from Grasim Industry Limited. I am also co-colleagues of Praveen Kumar. And I would like to thank Mr. Anurag Tripathi, sir, who will give the opportunity of this learning group and this meeting, first of all, sir. I just also work in safety department in Grasim Industry since 2 years. I did PDIS in safety, pass out 2017, all the experience in the safety field, and recently worked within Grasim Industry, sir.
Welcome, Ankit, and hope you continue with us. Maybe you can also prepare for a presentation in the month of March, third Wednesday, March, so that we benefit from your experience. And
sure, sir.
Everyone's experience is important, whether it is 1 year or whether it is 30 years. As long as it is an experience, you can relate. It is good for us It could be something very small. It could be something very simple also. Don't worry.
Sir,
Thank you,
yes,
Ankit.
definitely. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Is there someone else who would like to introduce? Subrata Mukherjee, you have joined us before. MB Franca, even your mic is unmute. Okay, I think it's time for us to move on to the next part. And next part is something very experienced, something very, all of you or many of you have learned from him. He's a very adept trainer as well as, a PSM expert. So I request Mr. Anurag Tripathi to take over.
Well, good evening, everyone. And yes, it's another opportunity for me to address these experienced people here. Let me share my screen with you. So here we go. We have covered already 2 earlier talks on safety excellence, steps towards safety excellence. Just to quickly kind of take you back into them, it was about having a safety vision. Every time I have been covering 3 steps basically, because there could be many, but I thought let me take you step by step. Whatever gaps you could identify, you could implement within your system. So having safety vision in the company is a foremost thing before you could even begin to show leadership. Having meaningful goals, today I can't elaborate them, we have already discussed. Then having safety expectations from the staff, doing safety for the right reasons, not confusing people safety with process safety, and then learning from accidents. This is what we had covered previously. And now, today I'll take you down the lane for 3 more steps. So here they come. 3 more steps for safety excellence. The first one is you need to address the problems that could possibly arise in safety during early phases, especially the design phase, or during process modification or fine-tuning. The earlier you do, the better would be the chances for having a good quality safety standard. Second would be to equip your staff before you expect some results from them. And third is planning for safety and integrating it with the process. I'll take these 3 points into a bit of details so that you get an idea. One by one, I'll take them. So the first one is early design and process modifications. As you can read probably here, a good safety organization or a good team, if a good business team looks for making safety inherent in the process, even if the cost of implementation is high. Because if you can fit it within the process, then you can actually sleep well. So many things could be eliminated down the line. This itself requires a serious commitment, some kind of vision. Unfortunately, not many organizations have this kind of a vision. It is always easier to cut corners. Let me give you an example. So you're going to buy a generator set for standby power. One generator one DG set costs you, say, X dollars, the other one costs you X plus 20% of 10% dollars. But the one which is cheaper produces more noise. The one which is expensive is quite silent. Here is the dilemma. If the organization is really focused on safety and committed on safety, they would go for the second one. Yes, there is an upfront cost, but can you imagine the recurrent savings by way of saving so many hazards and unnecessary PPE monitoring? So if a machine makes a lot of noise, suppose I'm just giving an example, it need not be perfect. So if a machine makes a lot of noise and without wearing earplugs, it is impossible to be there. And if a machine is available at a higher cost, which doesn't require earplugs, but costs you more, what should you do? That is what I mean, early design and process modification. And I'll give you 4 examples right now. They are just very simple examples, but all of them point out towards inherent safety. So here is biometric verification. Instead of having a manual system of intervention, of tracking, monitoring, how about using biometrics as your security guard? So many things are eliminated. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with biometric now because it is there. That is why I chose this example, because it's a very simple example to understand. But I hope you get it. One tech interface, and yes, expensive, but eliminates so much of possible violation, so much of intrusion. You have a power press in engineering industry. There have been umpteen number of cases where workers have been operating the machine with one hand and the other hand went inside the machine and the hand got chopped off. A built-in safety feature says you cannot operate the machine unless both the hands are on the controls. Now what happens? The moment he removes the hand from one control, the machine shuts off. Such a machine would be obviously more expensive than the simple machine. But you have a choice. Either you suffer some accidents and then go for modifications, or you go for process modified equipment. Third example. So you have a choice of buying diesel operated forklifts or battery operated forklifts. Diesel operated forklifts are obviously more powerful. They can handle better load. They are more common, whatever. But battery operated cuts down your pollution, like anything. And forklifts generally operate within the warehouses, so they produce smoke. Battery operated could be expensive, but it doesn't produce smoke. In one shot, you have handled the pollution issue. These things demonstrate a commitment of the management. And this is what takes you in the right direction. But there will be cost angle. Then remote operated valves. ROVs are excellent for hazardous operations. And I'm sure all of you have seen them. But the point is, do you inherently, do you as a person, do you as an engineer, do you think of these things by design? Instead of going to that corner, how about having an ROV there? And I can operate it from remote. ROVs replace human intervention, make the process inherently safe. Now, if a company, if an organization invests into this kind of effort, that is a very sure shot step towards safety excellence. It is not about talking big. It is about doing a lot of things. That was point number 1, which I wanted to share today. And is really the point number 6 or 7 now. Then equip the staff before you start demanding results from them. It's a big challenge. If I look back at my tenure when I started the company job, and I still don't find things have changed. I used to work for a public sector oil company. Well, we were put on the job. Where was I equipped? I still don't find most of the modern companies, I don't find companies investing time to equip their engineers and safety engineers before they start demanding results. Why do companies foolishly assume that these guys who have come with a degree on safety also know what is process safety in an industry? I mean, you know, an engineering degree just prepares you with the basic framework. That's all. There's hardly anything else. Even if you are joining the engineering department, you're all the more handicapped. If you're not from a safety background, you have further lack of knowledge. So my point is, the companies should not go by the qualifications, not go by the degrees. Initial couple of months should be invested in training people, in equipping people in 2 areas. But before we go ahead, look at this. What do you think? Safety is a talent issue or is it a learning skill? By now I've spoken enough so you would know it is not about talent. You cannot have safety as talent. You have to acquire a skill. Now, if you have to acquire, then there are 2 areas. One is the hardware of safety, other is the software of safety. So hardware, just a few examples. How to use the equipment, how to use the gadgets, the devices, what are the rules, what are the SOPs, what is the technical knowledge required to run the process. Now, this is an area where the staff must be trained in. And if you are the senior person listening to me right now, please do not assume that your people know or your people have the knowledge to operate things safely. Be very deliberate about training people. There are so many things which people don't know. So many things which people don't know. And majority of the staff, I would say 98%, 98% staff, they just discover safety issues, safety features as they go along with the company. So if a program is happening on risk management within the company and that person joins recently, he would be lucky enough to join into that program. But suppose the risk management program has already happened and somebody joins later on, then who's training him in risk management? Who's training him? Nobody. And yet people would expect him to do HERA. People would expect him to do JSA and risk assessment. How on earth do you expect him to do it, a risk assessment? So one thing, be very deliberate in training everyone in the hardware of safety management, which is in front of you. The second aspect is be very deliberate in training people in the software of safety management, which is people skills, art of communicating, and presentation skills. All 3, I must admit, and this is my personal view, I know I'm correct, you may choose to disagree. engineering community is awfully poor in all the three. In engineering colleges, they don't teach you all this. And when you join the job, you take years before you pick up the skills because nobody trains you in this. Unless you have your own direct commitment and interest in this area. Look at the written skills of people. Look at the verbal skills. It's woefully poor. Then how would you communicate on safety? One wrong word here and there, and it can change the whole meaning. And in fact, that's the reason I said that if you feel fit in the future, I could start covering sessions on art of hazard communication or safety communication, so that in this forum I could help some people to pick up certain things so that they do not end up committing blunders. But I leave it to you, it's your choice. So people skills, how do you talk to contractors? How do you talk to lower category workers so that they listen to safety commands? Just because you have a rule and you are communicating the rule doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Safety people have, I'll tell you what, safety people have a lot of confusion. Safety people think, I have given the instruction, my job is done, and it should be followed now. No, sir. No, sir. No. Big no. Your giving instruction has no meaning. Unless the instructions given by you have been implemented in the field, you have not given the instructions. Be very clear. I'm repeating it. Unless the instructions given by you have been followed by the people and have been executed in the field, your instructions have not been given. So when you as a safety professional go and say, I have already instructed the team, it means nothing. It means one-way traffic. So has the safety communication been complete? No, it has been incomplete. So there are n number of ways in which we unknowingly destroy our communication when we talk down the level, when we talk at the peer level, or when we talk up the level. Presentation skills, the less said, the better. I've been to several seminars and conferences. And I cannot tell you how bad are presentation skills of most of the people. If we want to make a good impact, if we are looking for safety excellence, excellence, sir, excellence is a very abused word. Huh? You know what is the meaning of excellence? Excellence means there's nothing better than this. That is what excellence means. There can't be better than this, anything. That is excellence. It's a very loosely used word. So people who are doing conferences, who are doing talking, who are doing virtual talks, sessions like this, they should have an inherent feeling as to how is the audience thinking. If I communicate with you and I cannot hold your attention span for a longer period, then I am failing. Do you think this is natural? Is this a talent? This requires a lot of deliberate efforts. I've just kind of given you a summary of this point. There's nothing else. And I'll give you two examples now. Let me take you. Example of safety hardware and the knowledge part of it. What do you think is the answer to this question? So there was an accident in the company, and one of the things which was found out, pipeline was badly corroded. So can the equipment failure be attributed to corrosion as a root cause? Think. I bet my life, most of the people will say yes. Yeah, corrosion was, it was badly corroded. No, sir. No. So let me bring you up to date on this. Before we say that corrosion was a root cause, we should ask 3 questions at least. whether the corrosion was foreseen during the design phase. When somebody was drawing the requirement for the equipment, that fellow, did he or she see that in this toxic or caustic environment, corrosion will be a reality? If he or she saw it, then was it built in? If they did not see it, then why did they not see it? And where was the leadership then? Wait. Whether the operating conditions that were given to the designer, they were same as that what is in the field? Or was the operating condition in no way connected with the reality? If it was not given, why it was not given? And third one, as the pipeline was getting corroded or the tank was getting corroded, was there a regular testing? Was there an absolutely strict PM schedule? And if it was carried out, were the recommendations acted upon? Now you see, these are three tough questions. Unless you have answer to these, you cannot call corrosion as a root cause. Because if these three things, any of these three were not done, corrosion is not the root cause, sir. Corrosion is just something which had to happen. You did not pick it up, neither during the design, nor during the operating conditions examination, neither during the PM schedules. So how can you call corrosion as a root cause? Now this is a knowledge issue. This is a hardware issue. This requires training, sir. People have to be trained at a different level altogether. We are not. Do you think companies are giving training at this level? Do you think they're giving training at this level to question these things? Let us go for the other example, the software side, people skills. So the important point is, how do you say what you say? I hope people are not confused. What I'm saying is this: when you want to say something, how do you say it? Because if you do not say it properly, your entire message goes wrong. So there was this company, I was doing programs, and there was this simple issue of PPE. So listen to me now. So the manager tells the worker, please wear the PPE, otherwise I will lose my job. Please wear PPE, otherwise I will lose my job. Is this called safety communication? So you are telling the worker that he should wear the PPE so that your job could be saved. Is this the message you want to give? I told him, you have murdered safety today. You have no idea. And he had no idea. I said, you have no idea what the hell you have done. You have destroyed safety. You are telling the workers that they should comply with safety norms so that your job should be safe. You are not even expressing care for the worker. Is this how we communicate? Now, let me tell you, his intentions are not wrong. His intentions are very correct. And I hope you're getting my point. His intentions are that he wants worker to follow the rules so that he is safe and his job is safe. But what is the message which is getting communicated? This is just one of the examples, sir. This is one of the examples. So it's a very big subject. So do not say that we are a top-notch safety company, we are doing this, and we have this certificate, that certificate. It's all academic. Unless organization invests in people, in their hardware, in their software. And then we come to the third point and the final point. Planning for safety to integrate with process and production. Planning for project, planning for production, planning for process is something which is there in the system, which we know. But safety planning, Most safety people don't know. Safety planning is an alien concept to most people. Business managers are almost clueless what the hell is planning for safety. Well, it is a very big thing. It is looking into what all would be required when you execute that process. So I'm giving an example here. I want you to think. If your safety system was equivalent to a wall, which wall currently your company system represents? Think. Don't answer. Think. What kind of a wall is representing your company's safety system? Is it another brick within the existing wall, or is it a well-integrated brick in the wall? And let me give you an example. Is emergency preparedness a well-integrated thing within the process, or is it when something go wrong, we do it? And don't jump into saying, yes, no, we have a very integrated process. No, sir, wait, think. I am not an auditor, you are not an auditee. Let's be open our heart and let's have an open discussion. If your emergency preparedness is really integrated within the company's process, then you know what you should be having? You should be having variety of scenarios, variety of emergency scenarios, which are enacted randomly at your inconvenience, not at your convenience. So most of the organizations I ask them, what time do you conduct your drills? And the answer is during lunchtime, during afternoon. Wow, and you are a continuous shift operation. So how about running an emergency drill at 2 o'clock in the morning? And why haven't you done it? How about running a medical emergency evacuation for one person from that remote location, assuming that he has suffered a heart attack at 11 o'clock in the night or early morning 5 o'clock? Then I would say your emergency preparedness is integrated. In most of the companies, they do fire drills by taking a tray, they put some oil and they light a mock fire and they fight fire. Are you joking me or what? Is this how you teach fire emergency? Is this how you think the fire emergency will happen? Now, I'm not saying you go and light up the entire plant. No. But there could be variety of ways in which you could teach people. But lighting it in a tray is not the answer. It is one of the minuscule answers. You could create a number of scenarios. Similarly, incident investigation system. Is it part of an integrated approach, or is it just another brick put into the wall? Because if incident investigation system is integrated into your approach, then you would not be looking for blaming people. You can't blame people. Incident investigation will be so integrated that it falls naturally. And as a result, high potential near misses will be treated with the same seriousness as an accident. And they'll be learning on that, which will be documented and shared. There are so many companies where accidents take place, near misses take place. And I must tell you, I've yet to come across organizations where they actually compile those cases of high potential near misses and they actually use it for induction programs. I don't see that. Induction programs are boring. Safety induction programs are boring. They will kill the trainee. This is the rule, that is the rule, that siren goes off, then you wear here. What is this? Induction is an opportunity to train your staff into preparing them for what could go wrong in your type of industry. And that cannot happen unless you create an inventory of high potential near misses, well created inventory, and you roll them out when a new joinee joins. every industry has accidents which are typical to their type of setup. So you have 10 type of accidents, 15 type of accidents. Compile case studies, give it to the new joinees, let them learn it. Now your incident investigation system is dovetailed. I hope you got my meaning, what I said. Please remember, excellence is a word which is being used very, very loosely. Excellence is top notch. Excellence means there is nothing better than this. And that requires a lot of effort. So with this, I come to the last slide. Planning for safety. Where is the planning? Before we undertake shutdown maintenance, there should be a deliberate planning for safety. Again, don't get confused. I'm not talking of planning for resources, not talking for planning for budgeting, not talking for planning for schedule. I'm talking of planning for safety. So when this shutdown maintenance happens, and if this thing goes wrong, if we have a gas leak, if we have an oil spill, what would we do? How many workers are we going to get inside the plant? Where are they going to stay? Who's going to take their night movement? Who's going to manage shortage of PPE if it arises in a short time? Where are they going to be taking rest? Where are they going to be eating? There are lots and lots of things which require planning. What if there is a shortage of equipment? What if there some equipment breaks down during critical operation? What if we are going to hire a crane and the crane is critical for the scheduling and the crane breaks down? What backup plan do we have? Those are planning issues. So planning before shutdown, planning before starting another project, planning before going into overtime. So you have a high pressure demand from customers and you have to start production during night or during whatever time, and you don't have space within the plant. So you within the plant boundary, you go out of the shed and you start working in the open ground. You just want to do something so that that job could be done well. So that fabrication is happening in the open ground. What about safety? It's totally different requirement altogether. How would you take the temporary power to that point? What will be the modus operandi? How will you ensure that it is protected environmentally? How about seasonal weather changes? So if it is a rainy season, what all other things you should plan for safety other than planning for work only? And what if things do not go what you planned? What is the plan for that plan? So the idea of my talk was, friends, to instigate you, to irritate your mind so that you start thinking. Worst would be that if the day you start feeling that we have a very good system. Remember one thing, a system, to never say this thing that we have very good systems. The question is whether your systems will work when they are required. To say that we have good systems is crap. The system must work when it is required. Can it work? How do you know that? That is excellence. So with this, I come to an end of my session. Here is my LinkedIn profile. Any of you can be in touch with me, connect with me, ask me questions, stay in touch with me. It will be my pleasure. It has been a fun talking to you guys. And that's all I have. Anything else, if you want, you can raise a question and I'll stop sharing my presentation here.
Thank you very much, Anurag. It has been really pleasure as every time listening to you. And thanks for sparing your time to address all of us. Planning, that is how this was his last slide, planning. And I think as far as safety goes, process safety goes, planning is the key. Everyone must be very, very careful that nothing works. I mean, it is not just that anything works out of nothing. You have to plan, and the better you plan, the better the more time and effort you put on planning, the better outcome is expected. Now, if we have some questions from any of the attendees, this is your opportunity. Please go ahead.
I have a question. Thank you, Jyotik sir. This is
Yes,
Ram Kumar.
Kumar.
Thank you. Anurag Tripathi, wonderful presentation. Actually, so eye-opening to many, because as a safety professionals and process safety professionals, we do understand there are a lot of loopholes. There are things that we all need to work together to bridging the gap. Now, when we talk about the readiness of the system, and nicely well, in a presentable manner, you explained about excellence. It's top-notch. I do agree. Can I ask you the question? How do you differentiate between best practices then?
No, best practices may not necessarily mean excellent practices. Best practices are always with a comparative surrounding. So there are 4 practices going on currently. This one is the best practice as of now. Is it an excellent practice? May not be. So there is a difference between excellent practice and best practice. We are all evolving. One day, we will reject even all the 4 practices and we will go to a higher platform. Let's take a simple example of a telephone. If you forget telephone, let's say record the music. So at one point in time, we had radio. It was the best practice. Then we had the record players. It was the best practice. Even record player had different kind of records. So it was best practice to have a LP, long playing record. Then we had cassettes. It was a best practice then. But was it excellent practice? No, because CD showed that tapes were good enough, but not good enough. So CD became a best practice. And then came the technology of soft music, which is Bluetooth and everything. And CD was gone. So is that a excellent practice? I don't know. It is a best practice as of now. One day we will have something else. So best practices are very critical because best practices help us to move towards excellent practices. But best practices are not excellent practices.
Perfect. And I have another question, sir, if I am allowed to ask.
Please, please.
Joel, sir. We always believe that experience counts, sir. You talked about the engineers, you talked about the professionals, you talked about also what happens in the work environment. You highlighted some of the issues like the people's skills, art of communications, presentation skills are really soft skills, which is necessary for any individual. In general, I want to ask, how do we acquaint with those skills? Do you think over the period of the time, or anybody can acquaint with those skills initially from the incipient stage? What is your experience when you worked as an engineer or a process engineer?
See, again, I have suffered the same challenges as you have suffered or you are suffering. There was nobody to equip me. And today when I look back, I say, oh my God, what a terrible practice that was. Nobody trained me. I was put into projects, left to manage the entire site, and there was hardly any input given to me. Today I look back, I look back and say, I am ashamed. I said, I was a moving hazard myself. I was a hazard to the site because I had no clue. I have done some really bad things at my site, but at least today I can know that these are the wrong things. So I think that is the reason I said companies. I have worked for a company like Shell. Shell is supposed to be the best. Even today when I look back, I say even Shell did not spend enough, invest enough to train me on safety. A lot of things happened because I happened to have a good boss, and I was impressed. If I can convey this feeling to Shell guys, I would say you should have done a lot of deliberate coaching for me. So coming back to now to the question, I think all the people who are in the process industry should go out and try to acquire knowledge through variety of means which is available today. Today, you are living in a very fortunate environment, And in this environment, you have access to YouTube, media casts and podcasts and Google Talk and God knows what. You should invest your time productively into acquiring skills. Unfortunately, even this is not happening. It is happening to some extent now, but social media also distracts you. So you go to read something and it takes you somewhere else, and then it takes you somewhere else, then it takes you, and then you are lost. So please be deliberate. All the young guys, when I say young, I mean anybody who's 50, is all young. You guys should invest your time to acquire skills, whether to upgrade your mental skills or whether to have presentation skills. There is so much of tutorial available to you. You are so lucky that you are in such an era. Don't let this opportunity go. And please, don't ever be satisfied that what you're doing is good. I am not satisfied. Every time I do something, I learn myself some lesson. I said, no, I should have done this thing better. I think I did not do it better. I did not do it better. So please never be happy with yourself. Okay, I have done excellent. No, sir, you have not done excellent. I have not done excellent. Look for feedbacks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anuragji. Do we have some other questions from someone? I know it's getting close to 11 in India and further east. So please come forward with your question, and maybe we'll have time for a few more directed to Anuragji. You are always free to ask questions on WhatsApp group, or you can shoot it on email. But as Anuragji is telling, that never stop learning. And you are in a fortunate era, better than the earlier time when learning was inside closed books, and sometimes bosses or colleagues, they won't share with you their own experience or their own. We have gone through that phase also, that people will not let you know that they learned this, and that was something very bad. But now nobody can hide such thing because it is out there in the open some way, and you see it nowadays. There was a time when some incident would happen in an industry, and you will find no mention anywhere in the media, in the news media. People will close it, and they would do some fuzzy investigation, and they will say they will close the whole incident. Nobody learns. Most importantly, that company doesn't learn. Forget about rest. That company never learns. And what happens? Another incident happens. If not exactly same, something similar. But now, fortunately, there is so much around. Something happens and it comes in social media. Although it is not all correct, but at least you come to realize that yes, something has happened. And this gives us, as Anuragji said, I like the expression, it should irritate your mind. Something has happened. Okay, this was a blast caused by propane, or it was a blast caused by the ammonia that was coming. Because media reported this, I don't think it is very feasible. Let me investigate, or let me read further. So that kind of opportunity you have, apart from, of course, attending, I would say, thousands and thousands of free and good literature and videos and whatnot. Okay, so thanks, Anuragji, and thank you all. Now it's time for quiz, I believe, Ramana.
Yes, sir. There's a quick time.
Yeah, so let's give it a quick 2-3 minutes, and then we conclude the session today. It was a very good session, I would say, today. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I have posted the quiz link. I request everyone to participate to get the certificate. If you are not participating in the quiz, you will not be getting the certificate. Please know. And I request you to put the name properly. Some people are using capitals for all the letters, but that's not the right way. Put the first letter capital and the rest small.
So those of you who are attending first time, please let you know that we offer an attendance certificate to all of those who participate in this quiz. Sometimes this certificate may be of good value to you, especially if you are maintaining some certification credentialing program like CSP. Then attending these sessions would be to your credit. So please get the certificate by attending this quiz. Go ahead. How many minutes you are giving?
2 minutes, sir.
So the link is there in the chat box. What you have to do is open the chat box at the bottom of your screen. You will see a box called chat. Click that box and you will get the chat box. And when you open the chat box, you will find a link from Ramana, and that link you click, it will take you to the quiz. Some very simple questions and answer them. Maybe another 1 more minute if you have not already done so. You have to write your name properly as you would like to see in your certificate. Great. I think let's close it now, Ramana. You want to give 30 more seconds?
It's okay, sir. You can move ahead.
Okay.
They can answer in the meantime.
So now over to you, Safdar. Thank you, and I would be signing off. Safdar, if you are around.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your time and engagement. It was a really very fruitful session.
Yeah, I do think it was very fruitful, of course, because of presence of Mukherjee, but also because Muruganandam presented something really useful. He is also such an experienced person, and we had some very good questions. And now we are having 3-4 more attendees. So we welcome all of them, and we expect next time to at least 2 of them to present our program, these seminars. Thank you very much, everyone, and
Thank you.
good
Thank
night
you,
to
sir.
most of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you, sir.
As a part of a small token of appreciation, we would like to felicitation to our speaker today, Mr. Anurag Tripathi, sir. Please accept our this digital certificate for sharing your valuable time today, sir. And this is another felicitations certificate to today presenter, Mr. Muruganandam, who is certified process safety auditor in Quethwal company. Please accept our small token of appreciation for today's presentation on your topic, refinery, isobutane release and fire incident. Now, we have already captured your expectation during conversation, and I'm pretty sure Badar is around us, Ramanaji.
No, okay.
Not a problem. By the time you have the result announcements is done or something you are waiting for?
Another 2 minutes.
We appreciate your time and those people who has a spare today event, and we will be meeting you again in next month, probably on 16th of February. As I mentioned that we are meeting 3rd of Wednesday to this process safety management forum, and we look forward for your participation. And meanwhile, this quiz winner announcement will be underway. We thank today two presenter and our office staff, Mr. Ramana and Rishi, who are behind the scene to make this happen, and entire SSP Quiz chapter for running this session itself. Those who have joined this session little late, they have still a possibility to visit our YouTube page. Visit to our SSP Quiz chapter website, and the link will be taking you to YouTube pages. So kindly visit our social media pages also, like LinkedIn, Facebook, and you will be immensely benefited by attending such session. Yes, Ramana. So those who has participated in the quiz, they will be getting a certificate of participation. And with this one, thank you all for your time. And Ramana will be sharing that online quiz, and within 5 minutes we will be wrapping up. Yes, Ramana, your results are ready now. Hello, Ramana. Please bear with us. There is a little connectivity issue, I guess. This participation certificate you will be receiving in your email box. So kindly check. Hello. Ramana ji, your okay, no problem. If there is a problem, we can send that certificate. Anyway, you can wind it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
thank
we
you.
have almost done it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, all. Actually, our secretary's internet also got a problem. So I was logged off earlier, and now he's also having issue. Okay, actually, what we missed is networking session. Okay, and the quiz winners were to declare. It is not an issue actually. Still, we are facing issue with the internet. So what we'll do is we'll announce the quiz winners through email. Okay. Before that, before closing the meeting, I request you to go for networking. If you would like to talk something, you can just open your mic and continue and introduce yourself. And you can also ask any questions to the speakers.
Yeah, good evening to everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
I'm Mr. Ito Augustine, safety professional.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the program of today. At least it was really an amazing program. I would actually love to attend programs. I've learned a lot and learned a lot. You know, you can only learn a lot when you connect with professionals. So I'm very happy to be in the midst of professionals like this. Very happy. Very happy.
It's so nice to hear from you. Okay, from which part of the world you are from? Hello. Hello. Are you from Nigeria, Mr. Edgar? Can you hear me? Okay, anyway.
Yes, I'm getting you. I'm getting you. The problem of network.
Yeah.
Is in the best. Network is in the best. Just want to appreciate the program. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments.
It's okay. I like to attend more and more to learn more.
Very good. That's good. Always welcome. You can just browse our website, ASSP Kuwait, and we are always updating our programs in that. And we are having social media channels also, which you can get down the information on time.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ashok sir, good evening.
Good evening, Ramana. How are you?
Fine, sir. Thank you. It's late night in India, but still you are.
I'm just waiting for your call. So otherwise, I would have gone to the sweet dreams.
Okay. You're always attending our PSM sessions, but unfortunately,
Thank you.
in India, but we did miss you, even though you are in India.
Yes, it's my pleasure. I wanted to catch up everything, Yeah. It was a good session. In between, I signed out because some guests came, some calls came, then I joined back.
Thank you. I'll call you back in a moment. And
sure. You can take your time and no problem. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm signing off. Ramana, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
With that, I'm going to close the meeting and we'll catch up in the next meeting. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.